The Liberty Flames football show is on the air. Your chance to hear from Liberty head football coach Jamey Chadwell comes your way on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. The Liberty football show is presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Start banking with Freedom First today. The Liberty football show is also brought to you by Carter Bank and Trust, the preferred community bank of Liberty Flames athletics. Earthright Mid-Atlantic, your trusted solar and energy efficiency experts. By Foster Fuels, providing reliable service for 100 years. Freedom Heating and Air, serving those who serve us. Carl Miller Realty, caring, competent, trusted advisors. Lynchburg Nissan, nobody beats our prices, nobody. Sentry Exteriors, experience and quality you can trust. Schedule a free estimate at sentryexteriors.com. And by Thompson Brooks Insurance, planning today for tomorrow. Have a question or comment for one of our guests? Email lfsn@liberty.edu or post a message at LFSN Radio on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Number 1 in white, Jenkins, the quarterback, gets the snap, turns right. Oh, the ball's batted down! No handoff! It's on the turf! The Flames say they've got it! And they do! Game is over! Game is over!
Now, let's talk Liberty Flames football. Here's your host, the voice of the Flames, Alan York.
All right, good Thursday night, everybody. Welcome inside Mellow Mushroom here for our Liberty football show with head coach Jamey Chadwell. And our show brought to you by Freedom First Credit Union. We shift our shows to Thursday in the month of October, and look forward to talking to head coach Jamey Chadwell as they continue their preparation for their next game next Wednesday at Kennesaw State. Liberty 5-0 overall, 3-0 in Conference USA play. Again, they played a week ago this past Tuesday in overtime, beating FIU 31-24. Now another 2-week layoff as they get ready for Kennesaw State next Wednesday, 7 o'clock kickoff with the Owls down in Kennesaw, Georgia. They are 0-6, 0-2 in Conference USA play. They played midweek a couple of days ago, lost and what some would call maybe a baseball score, 14-5. A very unique score there as Middle Tennessee won that one at home on Tuesday. And again, the Owls making their way up to FBS, their first season as an FBS program this year. No stranger to Liberty and Kennesaw State playing each other. It'll be the fourth matchup. A couple of great years playing each other back when they were Big South foes in 2015 through 17. Liberty winning 2 of those 3 and won their only matchup in Kennesaw against the Owls back in 2016. So that's the next game coming up for Liberty next Wednesday at Kennesaw State. Coming up on the show, we'll hear from head coach Jamey Chadwell. Mid-show, we'll let Coach get a little respite here at Mellow Mushroom. We're going to hear the weekly media session that was today. We'll hear from quarterback Caden Salter and defensive end TJ Bush. They gave their thoughts on the open date and looking ahead to Kennesaw State. We'll also hear from Liberty men's basketball coach Richie McKay. That's going to come up here at the bottom of the hour, recorded about a 5-minute interview with Coach yesterday as they continue their prep for their season opener against Valparaiso. The men and women both play November 4th up in Xenia, Ohio. And we'll talk to Coach about that and get his take on his 2024-25 team. Again, that's coming up at the bottom of the hour. And if you missed the news today, the Conference USA releasing its television schedule for the men and women's basketball games. We'll tell you more about that as well. So, all the housekeeping duties out of the way. Again, if you want to become part of the show, we have a microphone here at Mellow Mushroom. Feel free to come up and ask a question to Coach. You can also email us here live at Mellow Mushroom, lfsn@liberty.edu. We will look at our X account at LFSN Radio and also our video stream at facebook.com/LFSN Radio. That's where most of the questions do come in on the show. So we'll scan that as we move on here tonight. All right, Coach, Man, I'm long-winded. That was a long open. You were the star guest here tonight. Let's welcome in the head coach of Liberty football, Jamey Chadwell. Coach, good to have you back here tonight.
Glad to be here.
Your family is in tow as well. And what's on the menu tonight?
Probably a Caesar salad.
Oh, can't go wrong with that.
I'm assuming a kid's pretzel probably.
Okay.
And then, a pizza.
And you can't go wrong with a lemonade.
No, the lemonade's fantastic.
That is one thing that I know our kids like as well, the lemonade. That goes first before anything else. And
you got to get them all sugared up.
Sometimes they don't eat as much because they're all hopped up on the lemonade, which is great here at Mellow Mushroom. All right, we had you in the house last week. You prepared for the open date. I've been out at practice a couple of times in the last 7 days. Give us a take on kind of what you're doing as you prepare for Kennesaw next Wednesday.
It's been unique, obviously, because we look back on it. We practiced the 5 days before the Appalachian State cancellation, and then you practice another 8 or 9 before FIU. So there's 14 practices, and now you're here again 2 weeks in between. So we've alternated between going against each other, a couple scrimmage opportunities. And then taking some time, more fundamental stuff, lighter practices, and then raising it back up, trying to mimic as close as we can, getting ready for what a game week would be. Mm-hmm. And so today was actually a Monday for us as far as our preparation. Actual Monday and Tuesday we did a competition against each other both days, and I thought it was really good practices. And then just really did conditioning the next day, and then our Monday today. So gave them a couple days off after the FIU game. We did some work corrections and some practice, some fundamentals, and then gave them Saturday, Sunday to just get away a little bit and then back at it. So it's been the hardest part is football's a routine, and we've been out of anything. This has not been a routine at all. From that New Mexico State such a late kick, and then not getting back till later Sunday, and then you have the Lightning game and all those, and then you miss a game, and then you're into the midweeks. It's been last year. Okay, you knew it was coming, or you figured it out. This year, all the things have been different.
It's been
right?
Crazy.
And so I think our guys are finally just maybe more than anything excited about being in some type of. Okay, this is what we got. We play this Wednesday, we play next Wednesday, play the next Wednesday. Mm-hmm. I think your guys are looking forward to that.
Here's a little tease. Jamar Brown, one of your linebackers, is going to be our pregame guest on our pregame show next Wednesday at Kennesaw State. Nick Pierce has already recorded that. I listened to it today, and a lot of the guys are getting questions about what does it feel like having one game in 32 days? And you hear guys talk, well, it feels like training camp again. Yeah. And Jamar Brown said it kind of feels like spring practice where you play against each other and then you don't have a game except that one in 32 days. How about is the coaching staff? What does it feel like for you guys?
It's been unique, and part of it is because Coach, on this day you do this, on this day you do this, on this day you do this, and that's not been the case. And so it's given us some time to really do some self-scouting, look within, reflect on, hey, what are we doing? What are we not doing? All phases, and give you obviously some extra time of recruiting. So giving you some more family time, which has been nice.
Yeah.
Normally in a normal week, your Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you're not getting home till later, and obviously, and then Wednesday, then it's like a 6:30 or 7, then you taper off. Because we've not had some games, and you've had some weekends, whether to go to a fall festival or watch some games that you normally wouldn't have. And so there's been some positive in that. I think our coaches have maybe gotten some rest, which has been good. And because we've got you got 6 games and hopefully a 7th coming up, in 7 straight weeks. And so we're going to need to be fresh from there. So it's been a positive in a lot of ways as far as for us to just get our minds and away from some football, but also to reflect on where we are and why we're not doing certain things, why we are doing certain things, and hopefully come up with some good solutions to those problems, and you'll see that play forward.
How tired are you about hearing about slow starts? It seems like the media keeps asking you about that, Coach, and I'm not going to talk to you about it. You were asked it at your media press conference, and your answer kind of stays the same. We're working on that. How do you continue to address that in this open day?
Yeah, I mean, it's I think, this was the first half. Last week was the first halftime we were actually up, right? I mean, in a long time. So, I mean, maybe that wasn't as a slow start. We're just doing it incrementally, right?
Right.
But, this obviously, as the head coach, there's some things there I wish we would just come out more consistent, from the opening typically we've been able to drive the ball down the field and on the first drive, and whether that's 3 points or 7 or whatever, we've done a lot. We've had a lot of 3 and outs or not been able to sustain drives right away for whatever reason, and so we've looked at is that our pregame warm up? Is it we've looked at all those things. Do we need to do some things? Are we in the locker room too long? So we've talked about a lot of that stuff just because. And it's not been an issue before, but it is this year. And so when it's an issue, you look at all those things. And so, but it's something that I think maybe people think about too much now. And I say people, our players too much a little bit. And now it's, oh gosh, instead of just let's come out and play.
I kind of go back to your statement you had at the end of you remember what you said at the end of the game at New Mexico State? It's like we didn't get here first, but we finished first. Or you phrased it really eloquently.
Yeah, I'm sure it was great. I can't remember it, but
isn't it how you finish though?
It is how you finish.
I mean,
yeah.
at the end of the day, that's how I look at it.
Yeah, it is. It's about finishing. I think what's made it the challenge is because the expectations are high within our building, and they're obviously extremely high outside the building, and I think those expectations come with, well, you should be winning by X, or you should be winning by this, you should be doing this. And we've not had, even in the wins, there's never been maybe a smooth game from opening kick to the end, right? End of the day, your job is to find a way to win, and we've been able to do that.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I think that's not as valued as much as it's because it's, again, expectations, and everybody wants style points and all those things, right? And we're not that right now. And that's okay. That don't mean we don't want to strive to get there. But I think sometimes when that happens, your players start feeling that a little bit too, and a lot of those guys, it felt like a loss after we won last week, which is crazy.
Right.
But they were very subdued. Now, part of that's because they know they can play better, but also it's almost like more of a relief instead of a joy, and I think that's the challenge. We got to make sure we're just having joy playing and competing. And I told those guys, it's hard. It's hard. And we're learning that. And, sometimes I think you're guilty of looking at logos and seeing records and thinking, oh, okay, you got it, instead of holding up the standard that we need to uphold.
I remember last year going undefeated all the way to the Fiesta Bowl, and fans would ask me, each game gets the margin of error shrinks, and what pressure is this team feeling? And I've been around teams before that you just felt that pressure each week. I didn't feel that with your team last year. I don't feel it this year. And Caden Salter was asked today, your star quarterback, about that pressure. And he's like, we're just worried about today's practice. It's not player speak. You believe it. I believe it. And how do you get a team to not worry about external factors? Because I don't think your team does worry about that.
No, I don't think they do. I think it's been harder. I agree with you last year. I don't think there was ever any of that. It was more of, hey, it's a joy, and hey, we're doing something here that is pretty special.
Yeah.
I think this year, I don't want to say there's a pressure, but I think there's more of an understanding of if you can have another year, maybe you get a chance to go to CFP or whatever.
Right.
Our guys understand that. We've not talked a lot about it, but we work hard, committed in there, just always talking about the moment and talking about playing for a brotherhood and not playing necessarily for a victory. Yes, we are playing to win, but if you put all your focus on that, then there is a pressure. Then it becomes all the time. Oh, what I got, and we talk all the time. We have speakers all the time just talking about playing for each other, play for each other. And when you do that, then hopefully there's not a pressure from an outside source or any outside things, because you're not necessarily praying for the outcome. You're just praying for, hey, we're playing for each other. And when you do that, you don't necessarily feel the outside pressure, I think this year's been more challenging because I think there's outside external circumstances, not necessarily a pressure of trying to win them all, but maybe of what's the next step look like? What's the next move look like? Because that's where we are. And I think more than anything, because of success, more eyes on you, then more people have more opportunities to maybe go to whether it's the NFL or whatever it may be. So I think that's been the harder challenge this year, not necessarily a pressure of winning, but maybe other people among your team feel maybe that pressure of performing. So what's my next step look like?
I think so, too. As we take our break here, Coach, having a program where there are expectations. It beats the ladder.
Oh, 100%. Any day. Any day. I mean, I've been on the other side, and you'll take those. That means that you have a chance every time to win, know. And but I think it's you're always what's the old saying? You're a prisoner of the moment, right? And we've won a lot of games over the last year and a half. I don't know exactly how many, but we've won a lot. And I think there's expectation to win a lot. And when you don't win it the way you think you should, there's maybe a disappointment or what's wrong with them, And I told our team the other day, I was looking at Alabama last year. Alabama went 12-2 and made the playoff,
right?
And maybe could have made the championship game, got beat by a bit. They beat 4 teams. Arkansas, that was a 3-9. Auburn, that was a 6-7, a South Florida that was a 6-6 or whatever they were. They beat them by combined like 20 points. They beat Auburn on a Hail Mary. They beat Arkansas for 3 points on a field goal.
Yep.
But nobody asked them how much they won those games. But did you win or not? And I think that's like you said, you lose sight of that sometimes.
Joined by head coach Jamey Chadwell here tonight, our weekly radio show presented by Freedom First Credit Union. We'll take a timeout and one more segment with Coach before we let him get some dinner. And still to come, don't forget, bottom of the hour, we'll be hearing from Liberty quarterback Caden Salter, defensive end T.J. Bush. They addressed the media today to look ahead to Wednesday's game next week at Kennesaw State. And also we'll hear from Liberty head men's basketball coach Richie McKay. We're live at Mellow Mushroom tonight in Lynchburg, and we'll continue our Liberty football show with head coach Jamey Chadwell after this 2-minute timeout from Van Wagner.
What's important isn't that Freedom First has been in business since 1956. What's important is how we've been doing business since 1956. Since day one, we have been accountable to our members, not stockholders. We make loans that cost less, offer savings plans that pay more, and give back to our community, and that hasn't changed. What has changed is our ability to serve you with more locations and more technology to simplify your financial life. Freedom First. It's a place where anyone in our region can bank for good.
It's Lynchburg Nissan's Rocktober Sell Down. Save over $7,500 off MSRP on select remaining 2024 models, or get 0% financing on 5 popular models in stock. Plus, right now, trade in your car and get up to 130% of fair KBB value. You heard right. Massive discounts, 0% financing, and huge trade-in offers all month long. Only at Lynchburg Nissan, home of the million-mile warranty. Visit us today or shop anytime at lynchburgnissan.com.
You're listening to the Liberty Flames football show presented by Freedom First Credit Union on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.
Turn up the heat. Foster Fuels is a proud partner of Liberty Athletics. Fostering warm moments for 100 years, Foster has been providing exceptional propane and gas services throughout Central Virginia and surrounding areas. From propane to fireplaces and tank installs to tankless water heaters, Foster does it all. Visit fosterfuels.com or download the app to order fuel, pay your bill, and more. Get the customer service you deserve and turn up the heat with Foster Fuels and the Liberty Flames.
Earthlight Mid-Atlantic, your trusted solar and energy efficiency experts. With a focus on honesty, education, and excellence, they light the way to savings, home comfort, and a greener future. Educating homeowners about the power of solar and energy efficiency is their winning game plan. Give Earthlight Mid-Atlantic a call today at 434-200-9716 or visit erepower.com.
Welcome back to the Liberty Flames football show presented by Freedom First Credit Union on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. Have a question or comment for one of our guests? Email lfsn@liberty.edu or post a message at LFSN Radio on X, formerly known as Twitter. Now, once again, here's the voice of the Flames, Alan York.
Thursday night here in mid-October, we're talking Liberty football with the head coach of the Flames, Jamey Chadwell. Great crowd on hand. We'll be back here next Thursday recapping the Kennesaw State game, which is next Wednesday night, 7 o'clock down in Georgia. TV coverage on the CBS Sports Network and our pregame radio coverage worldwide on our Liberty Flames Sports Network app, also brought to you by Van Wagner. All right, Coach, we talked a little bit about your team and kind of where you are at 5-0, 3-0 in the league. I want to get your take on some national stuff going on. I think most fans had the open opportunity to watch a lot of games on Saturday. I know I did. Oregon, Ohio State, the way that game ended, Oregon beating Ohio State. And yesterday, the NCAA issued a new rules interpretation on how to handle a penalty for 12 players on the field. Oregon sent allegedly a 12th player, not allegedly, they did, to defend Ohio State late in the game. There was a penalty, 12 men on the field, which you can only have 11. 4 seconds were taken off the clock, and then Ohio State quarterback Will Howard had 1 play left. He slid late. Time runs out. My question for you, in-season change of a rule. They've now changed it to where the team, the offensive team, can choose to have time put back on the clock. Did I explain all that correctly? And in-season changes like that is, as a coach, is that good? Or would you rather wait until the season is over to address the rule?
Well, as soon as it happened,
okay,
and he talked about it, we all said they're changing the rule.
Okay.
Because you knew they were going to do it, and they did. Because if there is a perceived advantage, then the head of officials, they're going to make something. They're going to make a rule change immediately, so there's no advantage to offense or defense. You know, for a long time, the offense, because of the tempo, had an advantage, and then now they put that substitution rule in where if you sub, we're going to hold the clock. Used to, they didn't have that, right? And so anytime there's an opportunity for one side of the ball to have an advantage, you can bet there's going to be a rule change coming. And as soon as that happened, we said they're going to change it, and they obviously did. And so it was very genius by Coach Lanning. Unfortunately, he didn't have to use that on us, but it was smart by him.
Wow.
But also they viewed it as, hey, you're taking advantage of a loophole or whatever. And so we figured there was going to be something with that. And I read it. And I guess as long as there can still technically be 12, as long as one's running off the field.
Right.
So do you put one on there and say, hey, run off the field? I don't know. But I figured it was coming. But, I think on a situation like that, it probably is wise, because what you don't want to happen is now that was a unique situation. It might happen once every 50 games, right? Sure. But I think from an NCAA standpoint, they're saying, hey, let's don't give a team an advantage when somebody's trying to come down and score, and what happened there is, you put a 12th on, and maybe he covered somebody up, and then maybe there's a field goal attempt, but really smart by obviously Oregon coaches.
What they were trying to do is prevent a throw downfield or completion downfield. They did that, and they gave up 5 yards on the penalty, but also those 4 seconds were
huge.
vital.
Yeah.
And here's the release. If the defense has 12 players actively participate in the down, the offense can now choose, along with the 5-yard penalty, to have the game clock reset to the time that had been displayed at the snap. Can choose. Can they negate it?
I'm sure if it's a situation where maybe they're just running the clock out.
Okay.
That's the way I was surprised. Honestly, I was surprised they didn't make it a 15-yard penalty. I thought they would say, hey, we're going to make it, if you have 12 out there, and it's under this amount of time, it's a 15-yard penalty.
I like that.
Because then now you're going to go, hey, we can't give it 15 yards.
Yeah.
No matter what the time is, and so that I thought that would be what they did. I mean, that makes sense. You get 5 and you put time back on. But I think that'll get I don't know if you'll see anybody doing that.
Bill Belichick was really good about, I don't want to say manipulate the rule book, because that seems
but
like
he knew
every manipulate's not the right verb, but knew the rule book.
Every advantage to take loophole wise and all that. He was ahead of his time on those things. Anytime something happened, he would be ahead of it.
Is there something in the rule book, Jamey, that maybe not to discredit fans, but maybe is misconceptual? Is there something in the rule book that maybe I'm trying to think of one here. Okay, here's one. Defensive pass interference.
Mm-hmm. Objective.
Okay, you hear even broadcasters, I didn't turn around and play for the ball. Like, what are the rules in and out of defensive PI that okay, if this, and this is there, it should be called. And again, you said subjective, so it might just be on how the official sees it.
I mean, the main thing, what you tell your DB, that there's two things. One, they always have to turn and look for the ball, typically. There's always an exception to that, right? Because there's not a face guarding rule, you know. But anytime that you're in a contact with a defensive player or an offensive player, what they tell us is, as long it's fine as contact, but if he's going up to make a play, you cannot restrict him from having the opportunity to make a play. That's when they typically call that. So if you're restricting, meaning you're grabbing an arm or you're holding an arm, they're going to call it. If you're turning and you're fighting and you're turning and you're looking, typically they're not going to call something of that nature, right? But again, then it's subjective. Well, you restricted whatever. You know, like a big pass play the other day that FIU caught there when they were coming back. That they caught it. They got the fourth down and threw a bomb down there. Right. Or they said we sent a play in. They said, well, both of them are pushing. We got no problem with that. If it was a foul on them, it's a foul on y'all. Whatever. It's an easy cop out. But the offensive player, extended his arm, and they tell you if you extend to create separation, that's supposed to be on offense. Yeah. That's what they tell you. Right. But they say, well, no, you were fighting with him too. There's always, that's where it comes down to being a subjective. But anytime that you gain an advantage by restricting, they typically say they're going to call it. Some of them call more than others. The ones that I always think that I always say miss is when somebody gets there early. And then sometimes people call that immediately, and other times they don't. And some of those seem like they're obvious. I'm going to defend a pass, and I get there, I go through the offensive player to get it. Sometimes you get those, sometimes you don't. Those are the ones I always get. Like, come on, that's an easy one.
There was also a couple of unique plays in that FIU game. I remember us talking about it on the radio. It's typically defensive pass interference or it's offensive holding. But there were penalties in that game, regardless of who it was or what team it was. There was a defensive holding.
Yeah,
and there was an
against us.
Yeah, it was
on a pass play,
right? And there was an offensive PI, and it was just kind of unique how those were called in that game.
Yeah, and it's that's one typically defensive holding never gets called because the defensive line are taught that if an offensive lineman, two offensive linemen are blocking you, grab one of them, so he can't go to the linebacker. That's what they're taught, which is, and the officials say that's legal. And then we obviously got called for one of it, doing what we were sort of coached to do a little bit. So, again, it goes down to subjective.
Well, Coach, I know your food's here. I'll let you go. We'll get a couple of segments here, non-football related, but some good content coming up with head coach Richie McKay and your quarterback, Caden Salter and TJ Bush. We'll hear from them coming up here in a little bit. Then we'll get Coach back on towards the tail end and get a thought or two on Kennesaw State. We're live here at Mellow Mushroom. Got 30 minutes left in our show. If you're out and about, come on and see us. Great pizza, good hoagies and salads going on here at Mellow Mushroom. And our show presented by Freedom First Credit Union. We'll take a timeout. We'll hear from TJ Bush and Caden Salter coming up next after this timeout from Van Wagner.
At Carter Bank & Trust, we believe in a life lived full of plans, promise, and continuous growth. It's why our checking and savings accounts make it easy for you to earn high interest on your balance, so your money grows faster, all backed with the digital banking tools you need, so there's nothing holding you back from living life to the fullest. Open your new Carter Bank checking or savings account online in minutes at cbtcares.org or visit your local branch. We are Carter Bank, the preferred community bank of Liberty Athletics, member FDIC.
Curious about the Central Virginia housing market? Carl Miller Realty are your caring, competent, trusted advisors for real estate sales in Central Virginia. With over 100 years of combined experience, they are committed to helping clients make informed housing decisions. For a winning game plan and to discover the value of your home, visit carlmillerrealty.com to make your next move a slam dunk.
You're listening to the Liberty Flames Football Show, presented by Freedom First Credit Union on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.
Thompson Brooks Insurance has been serving Virginia for over 40 years, helping individuals and businesses with their insurance and investment needs. The team at Thompson Brooks is experienced in understanding life and health insurance, Medicare, and retirement planning. Thompson Brooks Insurance can be reached at 434-385-8500 or online at thompsonbrooksinsurance.com. Thompson Brooks Insurance, planning today for tomorrow.
Century Exteriors offers exterior home renovations, including but not limited to gutters, roofing, siding, home additions, and much more. Century Exteriors makes the process seamless. Call 434-239-6722 for a free on-site estimate or visit centuryexteriors.com and Century Exteriors on Facebook and Instagram. Century Exteriors is a proud supporter of Liberty Flames Athletics.
Welcome back to the Liberty Flames Football Show presented by Freedom First Credit Union on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. Have a question or comment for one of our guests? Email lfsn@liberty.edu or post a message at LFSN Radio on X, formerly known as Twitter. Now, once again, here's the voice of the Flames, Alan York.
Welcome back inside Mellow Mushroom tonight in Lynchburg for our weekly Liberty Football Show with head coach Jamey Chadwell. We've been joined by Coach. He is away now getting some dinner with his family, and we'll have him back in here in the saddle here in about 15, 20 minutes, and we'll get a take on Kennesaw State. That's the next game for Liberty coming up next Wednesday down in Kennesaw, Georgia. The Owls are 0-6, 0-2 in league play. They lost to Middle Tennessee on Tuesday, 14-5, part of the midweek ball games in Conference USA, year 2 of a 5-year TV deal with Conference USA and its TV partners, CBS and ESPN. Next Wednesday's game will be on the CBS Sports Network, and we'll have live radio coverage as well. We encourage those fans when we're away. We love our home crew, Matt Warner, Joe Yock, and Emily Austin, but when we're away, we encourage fans to sync us up on the Liberty Flames mobile app and your DVR, however you access the video, and look forward to the game at Kennesaw State next week. Liberty 5-0, 3-0 in Conference USA play after their win last Tuesday in overtime, 31-24 over FIU. Coming up on the show, we'll hear from head coach Richie McKay, Liberty basketball, working hard, set for their season opener November 4th against Valparaiso. That game will be in Xenia, Ohio, along with the Liberty women. They both open up on the 4th, and we'll have all that coverage for you coming up as basketball season is just around the corner. We've got some TV news coming up here in our next segment. But time now to hear from Liberty quarterback Caden Salter, defensive end TJ Bush. Today was the weekly media session looking ahead to the Kennesaw State game, and if you missed it today, you can access that at our YouTube page. Just search Liberty Flames. All the videos are there. It's also on our website, libertyflames.com. But here is Caden Salter, TJ Bush earlier today with the media.
I guess just first for both of you guys with the long layoff, here and then before the last game, and one game in 32 days. Caden, if you want to start, what have you done? How have you handled the time off to try to stay sharp but get the needed rest?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I think everybody needed the rest, just a mental getaway from football for a little bit. I feel like it helped us out a lot. That was something that we needed, just to get away from football for a little bit for those few days, still having your mindset on the season and everything, just thinking about all the goods and the bads that we've done and how can we get better overall as a team and how can you be better for yourself. Just sitting back and having the time to sit back and think on those things was very helpful, and I feel like, kind of like Coach said, it came at the right time. A few injuries that we have on the team, giving people a lot of time to get those extra treatment hours and extra treatment minutes and just prepare their body for the second half of the season.
Like you said, one game in 32 days, and that's very unforeseen in college football. So, like Caden was saying, on the defensive side, we really just been trying to, working on perfecting our craft, not staying content, trying to get better and just keep getting hungry and climbing.
Caden, obviously a lot's been made about the receivers who've been kind of in and out of the lineup with injuries. Who are some of the guys who you feel like you've been building a rapport with throughout a lot of this kind of up and down with the receiver?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, obviously with the injuries at receiver, Reese Smith's been out. Trent Sibley missed a little bit of time. What's the deal with the receivers? Who do you feel comfortable with?
I mean, I feel comfortable with all our receivers, just as long as they're healthy and we can trust their health at the moment. I mean, I feel comfortable with any receiver that we have out there on the field. I mean, Darius Copeland, he was a big guy that was helping us this year in the season. With him being out, you know, Reese, he's always been one of those guys that we knew was capable of doing what he can do. He was just always hurt, and now that he's back, he had him a slight setback. I think a few games ago, but he should be back, and just having him back, having Dante Lee back, just Trayon Sibley, Tyson Mobley, all those guys, they're all capable of coming out and doing special things on this offense.
You know, at the beginning of the year, it was Sibley was kind of, in the games at least, he was showing up in the stat line, and then you have that big game with Reese there. Was there a moment where something kind of clicked with you two, or was it just what the game plan was dictating that night, or just kind of take me through the progression there with those guys?
Yeah, I mean, it was just something that I don't want to say the game plan dictated, but it was just those certain looks that they started giving us, and Reese Smith just ended up being that guy and on those drives to get those one-on-ones and for me to look at him first and those type of progressions, and he just got open on all those plays, and he made the play when it was needed to be made.
For you and for this team as a whole, everyone wants to compare to last year, right? Has the success been harder to come by this year than it was last year, and if so, why?
Oh yeah, I mean, of course, the success has been way harder. Every team we play, we're gonna get that best shot. I mean, we're every team's championship game this year in our conference, and we all know that. And as you can see, we done played the lower teams in our brackets, and we've been in very tight games with those types of teams. So just knowing that every game that we got to come out there and play our best every game is Liberty every game, but. Just knowing that every team that we play, they're going to give us their best shot, and we got to be ready to get them our best shot.
Whether that's just, you mentioned knowing that you're getting teams' best shots. Obviously, you've been the starter for a while now, but for other guys who are getting used to more playing time, what's the difference between going into a game or going into a season knowing you're going to get a team's best shot and then actually experiencing how challenging that is?
Yeah, I mean, you just it's all a mental thing. Just knowing that you got to go out there every game and give your best shot, like. We're playing Kennesaw State. They're one of the lower teams in our bracket this week, but everybody knows that once we get out there, they're going to give us their best shot, and they might make plays that they never made before. So just understanding that those types of little things all matter in the game. We got to go out and practice how we play, and we just got to go out and execute the game plan and execute practice so we can have that perfect game plan, be able to take out those plays that we don't think will work or not comfortable with running and those certain types of things. We just all got to come together and be ready for any team at any moment.
Is part of your growth as a quarterback understanding that and being able to help other guys along with that adjustment?
Oh yeah, yes sir. I mean, just lifting everybody up and bringing everybody together and just having a capability to come together as one and work as a team.
TJ, the team's gotten off to slow starts, pretty consistently throughout the year, having deficits each of the first 5 games. What are some things you guys can do on the defensive side of the ball to try to attack it from the opening kickoff?
I mean, just really communication, just trying to start fast. I mean, we don't go into any game trying to start slow per se, but I mean, it's just something that we've been working on over the long break, coming out hot. We have a saying get your piss out. So, I mean, we've been trying to work on that and just, as soon as the ball kicks off, just being out there and just giving it our all.
Is some of that done in practice as well, where you get used to starting practice fast? Is that something you do, and is there a carryover effect?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the way our practice is set up on Tuesdays, we have inside run the second period out the gate. So we're doing inside run probably at 8:45 a.m. So you really don't have much time to think. It's kind of as soon as we're done warm-ups, we're right into it. So I feel like that definitely helps because you don't have time to really mope around. You got to just get into it.
For both of you guys, as the season goes on, you guys keep this winning streak intact. How do you handle the pressure, whether that's external, internal? What kind of pressure do you guys put on yourselves to keep this streak intact and to try to get to where this team and this program ultimately wants to go?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like there's not a lot of pressure that teams are not teams, but just people that are putting on us. We all know what we're capable of doing, and we all know the expectations, but we try not to try not to think about others' expectation. We go out, win or lose, we just going to go out and we're going to play together as a team. Of course, we all want to win, but we just going to go out and play as a team, and we're going to hope for the best and just go out and execute the game plan that coach put in place for us and just do the best that we can do and not think too much about the expectation and all those extra things going on outside of us, you know.
Yeah, I would say just don't look at it more as pressure but a blessing, you know. Don't make it bigger than it is, you know, and only worry about the next game. Don't worry about game 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now. You know, you can only win the next game you're playing. So I feel like that's the biggest thing for us is just, you know, focus on our craft and just, like I said, don't look at it as pressure but a blessing.
TJ, what value, if any, is there in terms of momentum from you have the 24-10 lead, Florida International, they come back, they tie it, force overtime, but you get the big defensive stop in overtime. What does that do for your unit and the confidence and being able to carry that over to the second half?
It's definitely something that's good. You know, going out there in overtime, you know, we knew what their offense was going to do, and they were confident in us. And it's just, you know, that bond we have. You know, we can trust them and they can trust us. So it definitely brings a lot of momentum, you know, going into the next game. So I feel like that's big, you know, especially with starting fast. So I feel like that would definitely help.
Caden, do you feel like this team has still another level that it can get to offensively? Has this team played its best game yet?
No, sir, not at all. We have way more things that we can accomplish out there on the field. I mean, it's so much more that we can do, including myself, just going out there and being better overall as a team, starting off fast on offense and defense and keeping that same pace throughout the whole game. You know, on offense, we start off slow every game this whole for the first half of the season. And we took that to heart, just knowing that the second half of the season, we got to come out there and we got to be better. We got to execute plays. We got to stop getting behind the sticks. We got to stop all those penalties that's not needed and just come out and be better as a whole overall on offense and make the plays that need to be made, make the smart decisions, make the right decisions, and just come out and dominate. That's something that we haven't been doing, and that's something that we know we haven't been doing, and that's something that we're over this break that we all sat down and talked about, and just getting an understanding of why haven't we been explosive as we was, and just understanding that we can still do that and just gotta all come together and keep practicing and putting together the right script and putting together the right plays to be that same dynamic offense.
And that's Liberty quarterback Caden Salter, defensive end T.J. Bush addressing the media today ahead of their game against Kennesaw State next Wednesday. Jamey Chadwell also had a media session today. That video, if you want to watch that, is at our YouTube page. Just search Liberty Flames. All the videos will populate there. Before we take a break and hear from Liberty basketball coach Richie McKay, a couple of fans have sent in some questions on our Facebook page. Benjamin is addressing how you keep teams fresh during the long layoff. Thank you, Ben, for that question. We've addressed that. And Lucas has a question about make-up game since the Appalachian State game was canceled a couple of weeks ago. We'll get Coach's thoughts on that. I know the game against Appalachian State itself will not be made up. That game, that release came out officially last week. So we'll get Coach's thoughts on another game. We'll see. The schedule's very unique in October, that is for sure. Then it kind of irons itself back out in November. And also one question coming in from our normal email, lfsn@liberty.edu. Robert sends in a question that we'll get Coach's thoughts on about sending plays from previous games to the conference office for them to review. So, Robert, we'll get to your question as well. We'll take another time out of our show here. When we come back, we'll hear from Liberty head basketball coach Richie McKay. Their season starts, as the women's does as well, up in Ohio against Valparaiso on November 4th. Spent a couple of minutes with Coach yesterday to prepare for the show here today. So we'll hear from Coach McKay coming up after this timeout from Van Wagner.
What's important isn't that Freedom First has been in business since 1956. What's important is how we've been doing business since 1956. Since day one, we have been accountable to our members, not stockholders. We make loans that cost less, offer savings plans that pay more, and give back to our community, and that hasn't changed. What has changed is our ability to serve you with more locations and more technology to simplify your financial life. Freedom First. It's a place where anyone in our region can bank for good.
It's Lynchburg Nissan's Rocktober Sell Down. Save over $7,500 off MSRP on select remaining 2024 models, or get 0% financing on 5 popular models in stock. Plus, right now, trade in your car and get up to 130% of fair KBB value. You heard right. Massive discounts, 0% financing, and huge trade-in offers all month long. Only at Lynchburg Nissan, home of the million-mile warranty. Visit us today or shop anytime at lynchburgnissan.com.
You're listening to the Liberty Flames Football Show, presented by Freedom First Credit Union on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.
Turn up the heat. Foster Fuels is a proud partner of Liberty Athletics. Fostering warm moments for 100 years, Foster has been providing exceptional propane and gas services throughout Central Virginia and surrounding areas. From propane to fireplaces and tank installs to tankless water heaters, Foster does it all. Visit fosterfuels.com or download the app to order fuel, pay your bill, and more. Get the customer service you deserve and turn up the heat with Foster Fuels in the Liberty Flames.
Earthlight Mid-Atlantic, your trusted solar and energy efficiency experts. With a focus on honesty, education, and excellence, they light the way to savings, home comfort, and a greener future. Educating homeowners about the power of solar and energy efficiency is their winning game plan. Give Earthlight Mid-Atlantic a call today at 434-200-9716 or visit erepower.com.
Welcome back to the Liberty Flames Football Show, presented by Freedom First Credit Union on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. Have a question or comment for one of our guests? Email lfsn@liberty.edu or post a message at LFSN Radio on X, formerly known as Twitter. Now, once again, here's the voice of the Flames, Alan York.
Welcome back inside the Mellow Mushroom here in Lynchburg tonight, talking Liberty Flames football, also basketball with head coach Richie McKay. The Liberty men's team will be cranking up here November 4th. Also the women playing Valparaiso same day up in Ohio. And we were able to catch up with Coach McKay earlier yesterday to get his thoughts on the team and the season coming up.
Well, Coach, good to catch up with you. Good to hear the basketball's bouncing. It's that time of year. How's the team looking here a couple of weeks into preseason practice?
AY, it's good to be with you again. It means that the season is approaching whenever I get to spend time with you. So I always look forward to that, and look forward to Flames Nation getting a chance to take a peek at our group. I think what they'll see this year is a team that is a little more talented. We look a little bit more like a team that we play against regularly in our conference, have a little more size, a little more athleticism. But the great thing that I'm sensing, AY, is like our group we're about the mission. We're about the culture that's been established with the men that have gone before, the people that are in the room, and our charge is to not just be a part of that, but to try and grow it. And we think it's a great privilege to represent Liberty on our jersey and be a part of a campus like this. So I think our fans will be excited about the group we have. I think they play the right way. They're selfless, and I think we're decently talented.
When you look at that talent, where does it start? You look up and down the roster, the size has increased, and just looking at the years, the classes of these kids, it looks like there's some veterans that you cultivated into the program. Some you brought from the portal, but the makeup of this team, what do you make of it?
Yeah, in this day and age, AY, to have 3 returning starters is actually a really good thing. And I think in Colin and Caden and Zach, that all those guys have had really good springs and a really good summer and a really good fall. So I see improvement in those guys. I also think the guys that didn't get as many minutes, Curtis Blair, Gabriel, Xander, I think those guys have improved significantly. And then the influx of talent in our transfers has been terrific. Isaiah Enan, a transfer from Minnesota, although he still got some nicks that slow him down a little bit. He's been really effective when he's been out there. Our 2 Division II kids, Javon Moffmer and Talon Peter, are terrific additions, great people, great teammates, talented players. And then Owen Aquino, the young man from the first junior college player I've had in 18 years. He's just a joy to coach. Like he's a really good basketball player, terrific person. And our freshmen are good. Will Gibson and Brett Decker, I think. I'm not sure what we'll do in terms of redshirt or what, but both of them have really, really bright futures. Brett's a terrific player. Like he's got a chance to play right away.
How about Kai Yu, 7-footer out of China? You redshirted him last year. Development for Kai, and what's his upside, Coach?
Yeah, Kai continues to improve. Anyway, I think that the language and the terminology that we use, he's learning and adapting. But when we've gotten into a game, it's still not commonplace for him. The transition is a difficult one, and we're hopeful. Kai's a fabulous young man. He's fun to coach, and we gotta continue to develop him.
All right, Coach. Finishing up here as we catch up with head coach Richie McKay. First game is right around the corner. Valparaiso up in Ohio. Again, not a finished product as of yet, but November 4th will be here before we know it.
Yeah, we're playing against the Missouri Valley team that they actually they're the only team in their league that returns their top 2 or 3 scorers, which speaks to Coach Powell and the culture that he's building there. I know the first games are always a little, there's some unknown, you've had some scrimmages, but first time in front of people. Although I'll tell you, we've got a sneak peek coming up. Our group is going to do a little open scrimmage starting on the 30th before we play our home game against Jacksonville State, home football game. So 4:15 to 5 o'clock, if you want to come to the arena, you get a sneak peek at the Flames. But we're looking forward to the opener. We have I think we're gone. Chelsea Mangino, our chief of staff, told me we're gone like 20 days in the month of November. So tough early schedule, but I think that's what helps prepare you for what'll be a really competitive league season.
All right, Coach, we'll be ready for it. Thanks for your time here today.
Thanks, A.Y.
And that's head basketball coach Richie McKay. His men's team will get underway November 4th up in Ohio against Valparaiso, and the Liberty women's team also playing Valpo in that same event to open up their season November 4th. If you get the news here today, Conference USA releasing its initial broadcast schedule for the 2024-25 season. And linear games will air on the CBS Sports Network. Linear just means your typical TV. And ESPNU. The Liberty men's team will appear 10 times on linear games during the conference portion beginning January 2nd against Western Kentucky on the CBS Sports Network. The Liberty women's team January 4th will visit Middle Tennessee in a rematch of last year's championship game. That broadcast will be on ESPNU. And additionally, the March 15th title game for the 2025 season, also on the CBS Sports Network. All this information available at libertyflames.com. Season tickets are available now. The men's basketball season tickets are sold out for the 3rd consecutive season. Single game tickets go on sale for non-conference games to the public October 24th. And women's season tickets starting at just $50. Great deal. And Liberty faculty and staff, recent graduates, and Letter Winners Association members can also receive a discount by calling the ticket office, 434-592-5015. We take our final time out of our show. A couple more minutes with head coach Jamey Chadwell. We'll wrap it up after this 2-minute timeout from Van Wagner.
At Carter Bank and Trust, we believe in a life lived full of plans, promise, and continuous growth. It's why our checking and savings accounts make it easy for you to earn high interest on your balance, so your money grows faster, all backed with the digital banking tools you need, so there's nothing holding you back from living life to the fullest. Open your new Carter Bank checking or savings account online in minutes at cbtcares.org or visit your local branch. We are Carter Bank, the preferred community bank of Liberty Athletics, member FDIC.
Curious about the Central Virginia housing market? Carl Miller Realty are your caring, competent, trusted advisors for real estate sales in Central Virginia. With over 100 years of combined experience, they are committed to helping clients make informed housing decisions. For a winning game plan and to discover the value of your home, visit carlmillerrealty.com to make your next move a slam dunk.
You're listening to the Liberty Flames Football Show, presented by Freedom First Credit Union on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.
Thompson Brooks Insurance has been serving Virginia for over 40 years, helping individuals and businesses with their insurance and investment needs. The team at Thompson Brooks is experienced in understanding life and health insurance, Medicare, and retirement planning. Thompson Brooks Insurance can be reached at 434-385-8500 or online at thompsonbrooksinsurance.com. Thompson Brooks Insurance, planning today for tomorrow.
Century Exteriors offers exterior home renovations, including but not limited to gutters, roofing, siding, home additions, and much more. Century Exteriors makes the process seamless. Call 434-239-6722 for a free on-site estimate or visit centuryexteriors.com and Century Exteriors on Facebook and Instagram. Century Exteriors is a proud supporter of Liberty Flames Athletics.
Welcome back to the Liberty Flames Football Show, presented by Freedom First Credit Union on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. Have a question or comment for one of our guests? Email lfsn@liberty.edu or post a message at LFSN Radio on X, formerly known as Twitter. Now, once again, here's the voice of the Flames, Alan York.
A few minutes left on our weekly radio show tonight, live from Mellow Mushroom. Good crowd on hand, great applause for the show, and great staff here at Mellow Mushroom. Year 2 of our show here in Lynchburg. All right, Coach Chadwell rejoins us here for a couple more minutes. Got some fan questions, Coach. You mentioned last week sending in some plays to the conference that got reviewed. How does that process work? What do you expect back? How does that give and take work with when you do that?
Yeah, so you tag whatever plays it might be that you had questions on or you thought was a bad call, and you send it in, and then the head of officials for Conference USA, and then he's also over the Mountain West.
Okay.
Them and the crew they evaluate them. They send them back with their feedback. And typically, they'll tell you, hey, we missed this one, and then the other ones will say, hey, this was called well, and so it's good because you can see what they're looking at. Sometimes you still don't agree with it. Like from last week, that 4th and short, they were on the 43.5, and they had to get to the 44th first down. Maybe they did,
right,
but the ball was on the 45 after the play. And I know they didn't get a yard and a half, but I was like, why is it? And so you send some of those things in.
Yeah.
But so there's a process, and they have it, and they get back to you usually by if you play on a Saturday, it's usually by Tuesday, a couple of days afterwards, because they're doing a lot of people that send them in, and so and it's good feedback. It doesn't make you feel any better because you still feel like they missed it sometimes, but
right.
But that's how it works.
Able to watch any of the Western Kentucky Sam Houston game last night?
Watch a little bit of it. It was on. And so you watch it, but it's hard because you're watching, okay, what are they trying to do? And you're watching it not necessarily as a fan, as a coach, and you're going to be watching that whole game about 50 times anyway. So, but you try to watch a little bit and just see the flow and see some of those things. Jalen Jemerson, who was a former player here, he's playing for Sam Houston, so he was there. Then I watch a little bit of UTEP and FIU there, and FIU, I think their top 2 quarterbacks got hurt, and so – and then I think Sam Houston's quarterback got hurt as well. And so it's I said earlier today in our media that, through this midweek Conference USA, the pathway and how different things are evolving, you're seeing it, by these games being played. You're seeing how, who's taking a step forward and who's taking a step back. Obviously, Western's playing really good right now. Jack Say's playing really good. So that's the uniqueness of having these midweek games, is you maybe get a chance to see some of those games or parts of them you normally wouldn't.
Got a check mark next week.
Checkpoint.
I need to get Willie Korn, offensive coordinator, he had a great sound clip of saying checkpoint, check mark next week. Last year, you can become bowl eligible. It's the next game, which I know is the most important. Just a quick take on Kennesaw State and Brian Bohannon, who you've coached against before.
Yeah, Brian's done an unbelievable job. Been there since, 2013, I think, when the program started.
Yeah.
So, and I think like his win percentage is like 70% or something. It's really high. Obviously, they're struggling as they've made the transition to FBS, and I've been a part of that before. Being at a previous institution, when you make that move, it's not an easy move. Traditionally, it's not easy. Some people do it better than others, obviously, but he's in the process of that. The thing you always know about their team, they're always tough. They're always a physical team. They play with great effort, and they're 0-6, and so if they have any hope of a bowl game, they got to win out. So, I approach it like you're going to get their best shot. They're not going to play conservative. They're going to do. It's going to be a 4-down territory all the time. All these different things, and so we'll have to play well. We can't go just go through motions and show up and think, oh, we're going to beat this team, because I think what college football's proven, if you don't show up ready to play, anybody can have a chance to win a game. That's showing up every week, but that's what they're known for. They're very tough-minded, and they've got the quarterback can run. They've got some good skill guys. I think defensively, actually, they're holding up relatively well compared to maybe what their offense is doing. Right? Their offense has not been very productive overall, so the defense is playing tons of snaps, and they get tired, they wear down, and so they're obviously give some points up towards the end. But I do think they've got a good defense. And they got some capable offensive guys. We got to go take care of ourselves. If we can handle our business and be excited to play, be hungry to play, be the type of a team that's climbing, pursuing after something instead of sort of being at the top and looking down at everybody. If we be that, then I like our chances. If we what our focus has been, we need to learn how to play 4 quarters. That doesn't mean it's like perfect 4 quarters, but we just got to learn how to play 4 quarters. Yeah. And I feel confident that we're going to have a great week. We've had a good week so far. Not even really necessarily started, preparing. But I've liked our attitude, and hopefully we can, come out and play well, and because we know these next 5 are huge games.
All right, Coach. Appreciate the time. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Yeah.
And always good to see your family as well. Have a good rest of the week, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Flames.
All right, Flames. Head coach of the Flames, Jamey Chadwell, has his Flames playing really good football as they approach the Kennesaw State game coming up next Wednesday. That's going to wrap up our show here tonight from Mellow Mushroom. Another great crowd on hand. We'll be here again next Thursday recapping the ball game at Kennesaw State. I want to thank Jamie Hall, our on-site video producer, and Cody Whitman, whose birthday is today. Happy birthday to Cody. Or wave for everybody, Cody. Put your hand up. Higher than that. They can't see you. Higher than that. There he is, Cody Whitman, our on-site engineer. Happy birthday to Cody. Almost forgot that, Jamie. Thank you for reminding me earlier today, as we appreciate Cody and his help, not only at this show, and he also travels with us as well. For head coach Jamey Chadwell, my name is Alan York. Have a great rest of your week. We will talk to you Wednesday from suburban Atlanta, Liberty at Kennesaw State. This has been the Liberty Football Show, presented by Freedom First Credit Union on Van Wagner.
You've been listening to the Liberty Flames Football Show on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. The Liberty Football Show was presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Start banking with Freedom First today. The Liberty Football Show was also brought to you by Carter Bank and Trust, the preferred community bank of Liberty Flames Athletics. Earthright Mid-Atlantic, your trusted solar and energy efficiency experts. By Foster Fuels, providing reliable service for 100 years. Freedom Heating and Air, serving those who serve us. Carl Miller Realty, caring, competent, trusted advisors. Lynchburg Nissan, nobody beats our prices. Nobody. Century Exteriors, experience and quality you can trust. Schedule a free estimate at centuryexteriors.com. And by Thompson Brooks Insurance, planning today for tomorrow. The Liberty Flames Football Show, presented by Freedom First Credit Union, has been an exclusive presentation of the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.